Okay, so today is all about Ja and Nein Fragen. What do you think that means? Ja und Nein Fragen. Yes? Yes and no questions. Sehr gut. Okay, so. It's hard to take notes if you're not looking at the board, Maddie. You can turn your desk or move your chair. There you go. Okay, try the first one. Lernst du Deutsch? What do you think that means? Are you learning German? Lernen, learn, right? They're very similar, okay? So are you learning German? Lernen also means to study, like you're studying for a test, that kind of a study, okay? So you could say it either way. Are you learning German or are you studying German? So yes, no questions. Start with the verb. And then you have your main subject. Sentences are main subject and then your verb. So they just flip-flop the first two things. Okay? So if somebody asked you, lernst du Deutsch? How would you answer? Yeah. Yeah, you're all in German class, so your answer is ja. Right? Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, you'd answer in German because it's a German question. So you wouldn't say yeah, you'd say ja. Yeah.
You say yas?
Ja. Jas is not a German word. You would say ja, which is yes for German, because you've already learned that anyway. Yeah.
Why do you say okay?
Okay. But that's not a yes or no answer. You can't say, are you learning German? Okay. That doesn't work.
No.
You've already had that one, too. That was in your notes from before, too.
Will, I like the new hat.
All right. Still recording, guys. Yeah, you can tell Will all about his new hat later. Okay. How do you say the first word of the next one? Ich. How would you say the next one? Lerner. Again, lerner. Okay. And what's the last word? Everybody try. English. There you go. So put it all together. Ich lerne Englisch. What's that mean?
Are you learning English?
Is it a question or is it a sentence?
You learning.
Okay. I am learning English or I am studying English. So it's not a question because your verb would have been first and there would have been a question mark. Okay. So I learn or I am learning English. The SH combo, that SH sound in German, 90% of the time is going to have a C in the middle. So it's going to be SCH. Okay? The only way that you can have the S and the H next to each other in German is if you are putting two words together, or more than two, and one word ends in an S and the other one starts with an H. And that's it. Okay? So you could flip-flop that too. You could say, lernst du Englisch? And you guys would all say yes, because you all learn English. Okay? Or you could say, ich lerne Deutsch. Okay? So I'm learning German or I study German. Okay? Try the next one. Magst du Deutsch? Okay? Magst means like, to like something. Okay? So what does that one mean then? Do you like German?
I do.
So of course you would respond with, ja. Okay? Deutsch ist klasse, or something. Spanish is Spanish with a C between the S and the H. Okay, so you could put that in there too. That's not one of the ones that's going to be on your test or anything like that. But you could say, lernst du Spanish? Okay? Or magst du Spanish? Okay? The word for French is Französisch, which is a lot harder to say. Okay? And the word for Chinese is Chinesisch. Chinesisch. Okay? Next one. How do you say the first word? Ich. How do you say the next word? Mag. Next word? Die. Good. We've talked about purposely mispronouncing words, yes? And the last word? Musik. Okay, put it all together. Ich mag die Musik. Try it again in German. Ich mag die Musik. Is it a question asking, do you like music, or is it a statement about how much? I like the music. Okay, good. So where that blank is, you could put other things in there. Ich mag Deutsch, ich mag Spanish, ich mag Französisch, whatever it might be. Ich mag Bob. Maybe you like Bob. Okay? So you can use it for things or people. Okay, whether you like the person, stuff like that. You can put those in there as well. Okay. The next question, how do you think you say the first word in German? Kennst. Everybody, kennst. Okay, what's the next word? Du. The next one? Meine. Try the last one. Good. Deutschlehrerin. Everybody, Deutschlehrerin. Okay, kennst you don't know yet. Okay. Kennen means to know. Like to know someone or something. Okay. What do you think that means then?
Do you know my German friend?
Do you know my German
Teacher.
teacher? Okay. Do you know my German teacher? And it's female. Yep. Okay. So you guys could ask each other this question, kennst du meine Deutschlehrerin? And you would all respond with the same thing because, yeah, you know me. Okay? How do you say the first word in the next one? Ja. Okay? And then? Ich. And then? Kenne. And how do you say my name? Good. Okay, so then you put it all together. Ja, ich kenne Frau Sally. So what's that mean? Yes, I know Frau Sally. All right. Next one. How do you say the first word? Ist. Next one? Deutsch. How do you think you'd say the next one? Schwer. Everybody, schwer. Okay. What do the first two words mean? Is German. And schwer is the word for hard or difficult. Okay. So is German hard?
Kind of.
They actually have a word for kind of. And it's a great word. It's essentially saying yes and no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay? So this is a legit word. I don't know if you'll find it in the dictionary, but people will use it all the time. It's one of my favorite German words. You don't need to know this for your test, obviously.
Jein.
Jein. Ever try that one? Jein.
Jein.
What words is that a combination of?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Yeah, ja and nein. Okay, so is Deutsch fair? Jein. Kind of. Yes and no. I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
All right. The next one. Try. Nö.
No.
What do you think that is? It's another way to say no. Okay, it's less formal. Okay, so if you are doing one of your homework assignments, for example, there's one where they're going to be asking you to write out the question and then answer it for yourself. So you'll respond with yes or no in German. Don't put this one in. I always go through and I test them first because they teach you this word in the textbook, so it would make sense they let you use it, but they don't. You'll get marked wrong. So just use ja and nein when you're writing out things formally. Okay? So we've got nö. Es ist nicht schwer. Try that. Es ist nicht schwer. What does that mean?
Can we do that?
It is not hard. Yeah. All right. Next one. What's your first word? Ich. What's your next one? Gehe. Everybody, gehe. Next one? In. Yeah. Next one? Die. Is it Schul? Schule. You got to pronounce the at the end. Germans don't do the French thing where they give you letters and then you don't pronounce them. If a letter's there, you pronounce it. Okay, so don't ignore it. Okay, so try the full thing together. Ich gehe in die Schule. What do you think that means? Any idea?
Something's in a shoe.
No, that's Schuhe, not Schule.
Something's in a school.
I go to the school. Huh? We don't always use the, but you can put it there. If you wanted to, instead of having Schule there, you could put Rosemont High School here. Ich gehe in die Rosemont High School. That works too. Okay, so you could put the name of the school.
Do you know how to pronounce Rosemont High School in German?
Rosemont High School. It's a name. You don't change proper names. Yeah. We're going to talk about their schools. They're kind of equivalent to high schools in a second. So they actually use the term in German, die High School. And it's an American high school. So we'll talk about why in a second. Okay. How do you say the first word?
Fear.
Fear. Zach, why don't you get down and pick up the trash that you threw? You don't throw in the room. Okay. What's the next word? Sind. Everybody, sind.
Sind.
What about the last word? Schüler. Good. Everybody try it together. Wir sind Schüler. Do you remember what Schüler means? So we had Schule. That's different. There's no umlauts, no R. Schüler is students. K-12 specifically. Okay. What does wir mean? We. Good. So you can probably make an assumption about what sind means. You've seen that before. Are. We are students. There you go. Next one. How do you say the first word? Ich. Second word? Gehe. Next one?
In.
Next? Next one? Good. Now think before you say this one out loud. Look at what it is. You know how to say that. But 9a. Good. Ich gehe in die Klasse 9a. This one translates kind of goofy because we wouldn't actually say I go into the grade of 9a. Okay? But we would say I am in grade 9a. Or I'm in class 9a. Okay, so, and I'll explain what that means in a second. Okay. So when they are in school, in their equivalent of a high school, their schools are significantly smaller. Okay? And when they are in their classes, like 9th grade, for example, if you guys were one 9th grade class for just, illustration purposes, say you're all 9th graders, you guys would be together for the duration of the day. Okay, so more like middle school kind of thing. Okay, so you'd be together and you would be in this room. You would not move except for specialty classes where you need like a chemistry lab or you have to go to Phi Ed or music class. Otherwise, you stay here. The teachers move around and come to you. Okay, but the 9 part of that tells you that you are 9th graders. Okay, and then there might be, we'll say, 2 sections of 9th graders because their schools again are much smaller. So you would be 9A. And the class across the hall, which is also 9th grade, would be 9B. And that way they know. It's kind of like assigning a homeroom to you, if that makes sense. So then you'd be called 9A, and that would be your designation. And then everybody knows, oh, okay, 9A is in this kind of class right now, and they know where you are and everything. So that's where the thing comes from. Okay? So the next page, and we're going to talk about how the school system works a little bit. You don't need to write down the next page. You aren't going to be tested on it, but it's kind of fun cultural info. Okay? So kindergarten is a totally separate thing from their schools. Okay? It's a private school, and you pay for it. Okay? So it's not in the same thing as an elementary school. Okay? It's in a different building and everything. Okay, after kindergarten, you go to grade school, just like you would here. Okay? It's called a Grundschule. Okay? So that's Grundschule. And that's erste bis vierte Klassen, 1st through 4th grades. From there, it gets a little goofier, because from there, you go to one of 3 different types of schools. Okay? And the big difference is that here, we put everybody, regardless of who they are, or what kind of student they are, what their future goals in life are, we put you all in one physical building based on where you live. Okay? Is not the case for them. Okay? So obviously we have open enrollment and stuff like that, but for the most part, you are here because that's where you live. Right? They have 5th through 12th grade in one building. Okay, so all of those are different kinds of 5th through 12th grade buildings. And which one you go to is kind of decided in 4th grade by your teachers and by your parents. And it's not necessarily based on testing and stuff like that. Like we do a lot more testing here than they do there. Okay. But it's based more on how you're doing in class, whether you play well with others, things like that. Okay. So in 4th grade, they decide where you're going to go. If you go to the Gymnasium. Looks like gymnasium, but it's not. Okay, Gymnasium. If you go to the Gymnasium, you are a college-bound student. Okay, so after Gymnasium, you can go to the college. Okay. If you do not graduate from the Gymnasium, you cannot go to college unless you take specialized courses to make up for the fact that you didn't go there. Okay, so it's a pretty big deal. Okay. Okay. If you're an AP or an honors student, you're guaranteed to go to Gymnasium, but it's not just limited to those. Okay, so it's usually about the top 30-40% of the class go there. Okay. The other options are the Realschule, which looks like real school, but it's not, and Hauptschule, which means main school, ironically also not the main school. Okay. The Hauptschule and Realschule are kind of cool, in my opinion. They're far more career-oriented. So what that means is, you know, if you're a student that thinks about it and he says, you know what, I am not a college kind of student. That's just not for me. I'm a hands-on kind of person. I want to do this with my life, and going to college is not going to help me. Those are the kinds of schools you'd go to, right? I saw a couple hands waving. So if, for example, you might want to become a mechanic. That's a highly trained profession. You have to know a ton of things. But going to college isn't necessarily going to help you, right? So if you go to the Realschule, the Hauptschule, they get you through about 10th grade, and then you start an internship. So if you're going to become a mechanic, you go apprentice with a mechanic for 2 years. Then you earn all your certifications and all that stuff through that apprenticeship. So by the time you are 18 or so, you graduate from your high school, and you have probably a job lined up in your field already, which I think is pretty cool. Okay? Because here we tend to funnel everybody. Everybody is going into the same track. You have to have the same requirements to graduate from high school as everybody else. You know what I mean? So it's a totally different feel. So if you're going to the Realschule, you might become a mechanic, you might become a banker, things like that. If you go to the Hauptschule, you might end up being a salesperson. And here, like clothing sales and stuff like that, a lot of the times you guys are the ones filling those part-time jobs. So teenagers take those things. If you go to Germany, you'll find most of the salespeople are adults, and that is their career. That is their job. They were trained to do it. So it kind of depends on what your end game is and what you want out of life. Right? But when you're in 5th, 6th grade, it's pretty easy because it seems really young to determine what your future is when you're in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, right? 5th, 6th grade, it's pretty easy to swap back and forth between the levels. So if you were sent to Gymnasium and that's not really you, then you can move down lower to the Realschule and the Hauptschule. Likewise, if you're at the Realschule and you get your stuff together, then you can go up to the Gymnasium. And you could switch after that, it's just harder. Okay? So does that kind of make sense, how that works?